Hi, you guys. This is Tierra with Tips with T, and we have an interview today with Mr. Tyler. Mr. Tyler, how are you today?
Doing great. How are you, T?
I'm doing well. So, tell us more about you and what you do.
Well, my day job is as a school teacher. I teach fifth grade, and I'm relatively new to that. I was a professor for 10 years in teacher education. So that's where I spend most of my time during the day, but I have a lot of side hustles that I do when I'm not at school. And so I'm sure that's what we're going to talk about today, is some of the other things I do. In addition to being a school teacher, I'm also a family man. I have 4 kids of my own and a lot of hobbies that keep me busy. So that's a little bit about who I am.
Awesome. Um, I am very, very glad you're on the show today because, like I am, I love to teach. So I try to create my own ways of teaching. But I am
Mhm.
very interested in how you created your side hustle. So, what are the side hustles that you created to help you get that additional income that you need, being a professor and a father?
hmm Yeah, well, so over the years, I've done a bunch of things on the side, and some have made more than others. So, for example, one of my first side hustles was just freelancing as a web designer, and I started doing that quite some time ago, and scaled that up. Ended up doing celebrity websites, and so I have a number of high-profile clients, a professional basketball player, a couple actors. But my heart's not really in the design. And so while that was a fun and lucrative side hustle for a while, that's not something I'm actively pursuing. I'm just maintaining the clients that I already have. So I've done a few things like that have made me money over time, but I'm not doing currently. You only have so many hours to dedicate to side hustle. So right now what I'm doing is I do product reviews. And so where people send me stuff and I'll review them, I'll make like a YouTube video or Instagram and I'll post that. And then I get to keep the products, or in many cases, I'm paid to post those reviews. So that's a cool side hustle. And we can talk more about that and how I use that as a teacher. I also write books, and so I make a little bit of money off book royalties. I do blogging, where I make money off AdSense and sometimes other ways, affiliate marketing and stuff like that as a blogger. So I do some sports writing and have a sports blog that makes a little bit of money. Um, and then there's probably other things, but that just aren't coming to mind right now. But that's kind of what's keeping me busy right now. I'm also a professional speaker, so that brings in money on the side as well as going to speak to different groups. Yeah.
Awesome. So, explain more. How do you use the product reviews for the teaching aspect of it for your students?
Yeah. Yeah, so I started doing that a few years ago when we had just moved and I wasn't employed at the time. And so I was looking for an extra way of not necessarily making money, but getting stuff for my kids because Christmas was coming up. I wanted presents for them. And so my brother recommended that I look at doing product reviews. He had been doing it for some time and had been making some money with it and getting really cool things. And so I looked into it and I got connected with this company called Thomason. And Thomason was great because all you do is fill out a simple profile online. And I didn't have any social media following or anything at the time. I just filled in my profile. And then you can start to apply for things that companies have put on their website. And then if you have a large enough following, they'll hire you for, they call it a campaign, to do that campaign. But even if you didn't have a big social following, they might hire you for things that really need reviews, maybe like books, for example. Everyone wants book reviews. And so they'll send you one for free and you write a review. And so there were things like that. So I started just applying for stuff and got things immediately. And then that same year, I started teaching as an elementary school teacher. And so now, as I started getting cooler and cooler things, not only was I getting stuff for my own children, but then I was thinking, oh, I could use some of these things that I'm doing for reviews as rewards for my students. So for example, just this week, I reviewed a ukulele that I'll give away in a class auction. So the students save up their money in our class and then they can bid on some of the things I bring in. So I've actually done several ukuleles and they love it. So I keep applying for more and more. And then I did a vacuum. I wanted an extra vacuum cleaner for our classroom. So I got a cordless vacuum cleaner this week that I reviewed. I did a bunch of like zipper pouches where the kids can put their pencils and stuff. So I'm getting stuff now mostly for my students because honestly, in the last few years I've done this, I've reviewed over 1,000 things. And so I have way more stuff than I could ever handle myself. So I give most of it away. I do the reviews because it's fun. It doesn't take a lot of time and because I'm getting paid. But then I give most of my stuff away to either my students or other people, wedding gifts, stuff like that.
That's awesome. That's really good because I know that. Well, that's kind of like helping shape the kids and wanting to, and inspiring the kids to be more active in class and stuff like that. And then some kids they're probably like not fortunate to get things, so that's a good way to give back to your students.
Right. Well, then they love it. I mean, it just brings a little more excitement to the classroom. If they know that they can save up and for good behavior, they're going to earn money so that they can bid on these items. They love it. And so I love doing that. I also go to thrift stores every week and buy used books. And so I'm always giving away books to my students, and they love that too, because a lot of them have started their own personal libraries where they've gotten several books from my class. So I love being able to do that.
Awesome. So what is another side hustle that you found to be very, very beneficial to you?
Well, after I was doing web design for a while, that's where I started blogging because I would just set up my own websites. And I was a professor of educational technology at the time and telling my students they should start blogging. And we had a conversation and they're like, well, Mr. C, what are you blogging about right now? And I didn't have an active blog at that time. And so I kind of felt bad. And so I said, all right, well, just like I'm telling you guys to do, I'm going to find something I'm passionate about and I'm going to start blogging on that. And so after soul searching for like 10 minutes, I thought, I want to blog about college football. So something fun, not related to the academic content I was doing, but I thought it'd be a fun escape for me. So I started blogging about my favorite college football team. And like most blogs, it started really, really slow. I'd check my analytics and I'd have like 6 views and I'd be like, woohoo, 6 views. And then at some point I put ads on and I'd make a penny here or 2 pennies there, But with consistency, I started waking up every day and doing a blog post before I started my day. And in the beginning, it took me a long time. To write an article would take, anywhere from an hour to 3 hours. But over time, I kind of found my niche. And I started focusing on recruiting. So I became kind of the recruiting guy. And within a year, my own traffic picked up on my blog. So now I was starting to get like 1,000 views a day and starting to make some actual money. So my first year, I hardly made anything. My second year, I made over $1,000 just blogging. And then I started getting requests to write for other people. So to guest blog. And then actually the largest newspaper in my state pulled me on as a recruiting analyst. And so I became really the expert, so for me, I'm getting paid to blog as a sports writer, but some of the awesomest perks is now I'm interviewing all the players. I get media passes to go to the football games and be down on the field. And I'm not doing that most of the time, but I have options, which is really cool because I was a big college football fan before, and now this is like, for those who are fans, this is like every dream come true. And so it's really cool for me. Like when my son, I took him to his first football game and he got to meet all the players and be down on the field. And it was just a really cool experience. So that's one of the coolest things about being a sports writer / blogger is not just making money, but having other doors open up. So that's been a really fun one.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I am really big on creating side hustles and just for like even the additional string of income, but also you can create your passion. You can turn that into a side hustle. So if you're passionate about sports, if you're passionate about, hair care products, makeup, is a way that you can turn your passion into your side hustle. And a lot of people don't really look at it like that. But I mean, that's where you can kind of still get some type of fulfillment out of life by incorporating what you're really passionate about into your life.
Right. Well, the cool thing too with the 2 side hustles I mentioned so far is the barrier to entry is so low. To get started as a product reviewer, you just have to sign up. And actually, I wrote a book about that. It's called How to Get Free Stuff. And as I wrote the book, it was because people kept asking me over and over, how are you getting these drones? How are you getting these skateboards? How are you getting these backpacks that you're giving away to your students? And so I just sat down, I wrote a book to walk people through it. And it was really cool because I've had now several people tell me, oh, I read your book and I didn't think it was going to be this easy, but I got started and within a few weeks I was already getting stuff sent to me in the mail and it was really cool. So the barrier to entry is super low. And with blogging, the same thing. A blog is free to set up. You just go to any of the major blog sites, WordPress or Wix or anything like that, and you can start blogging today for free. And it's not real hard to get set up. But then once you start building in that traffic, then you learn how to monetize through affiliate links or by having ads on your site. And it does open doors. My wife this last year, she's an expert in child development and family relations. And so she started a blog just this year on, personal development and relationships. And she started blogging, and just like my experience, it started really slow. But now she has enough content to put together a book and to really position herself as an expert in her field. And so it's kind of like a really large what's that called that you used to give to people with your name on it, and it was a card, and it was called a business card. So she has basically, as she publishes this book, this is a really fancy business card for her saying, look, I'm an expert in this area, and now people are reaching out to her to speak at conferences and things like that. So it's really easy to get started, but if you're willing to put in the work, there are tons of benefits.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with it. Like, I like how you talked about like affiliate programs, because I know a website that I use to go through and get affiliate programs is through ShareSale. So talk more about the affiliate programs and stuff that you use.
Sure. So with my product reviews, that's where I mostly use this. But so this last week, a company that actually they found me because now I have enough of a following on YouTube doing reviews. So they reached out to me, sent me an email and said, hey, would you like to review some ukuleles? And so I've done a bunch of those. I keep reviewing all the different kinds, and then my students keep liking them. So I'm like, do you want to send me another one? And they have. So I did one this last weekend, which was just a really simple ukulele, and it was in a starter kit. So I did a review and I put it on YouTube. And then in the description, I say, hey, if you want to buy this ukulele, click on this link. And it's just a link that goes to Amazon. But with Amazon, it's really easy you can just Google Amazon affiliate program, and it will set you up, and it's free to be involved with Amazon's program. And what happens is if they click on my link and go and buy something, they don't even have to buy the ukulele. They can buy anything. But if they got there through my link, then anything they buy, I get a percentage of that purchase. And so say they buy, a TV, and it's $500. They'll take like 6% of that TV purchase. So then I'm looking at $30, and they'll put that in my account. So Amazon will give me $30 because someone bought a TV because they were looking at my ukulele. So it's a really cool program. I usually don't make very much money on any individual thing, but now that I've reviewed a bunch of stuff over time, I'm having people click on those links all the time. And that's a stream of income that's really built up over time where I'm making more and more money the more and more reviews I do. It's really awesome.
Yeah, it is. And those dollars, they'll add up after a while when you keep.
Yeah, they do.
It adds up after a while. So that is completely awesome. So tell us how we can get your ebook, how to get free stuff.
I actually have that one in paperback, and it's just on Amazon, so you can just search for it, or I can give you a link if you want, but it's just called How to Get Free Stuff with Online Product Reviews, so you can just search in Amazon, and it's right there.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, how can we get in contact with you if we want to get in contact with you, or if you have any more information you would like to share with us today?
Yeah, the easiest thing is just to go to my website, tylerchristensen.com, and that's Christensen, E-N-S-E-N. There's a lot of spellings for Christensen. But when you go there, what you'll mostly find is me as a speaker and as a teacher, but it also has all my side hustles. So if you want to see the other books I've written, I'm actually publishing a book here on transformation, because last year I lost 100 pounds and people asked me about that. How did you lose so much weight? So I wrote a book on transformation where I talk about my side hustles and my weight loss journey, and how all those things, the principles that I used to get started in side hustles are similar to the same principles I used to lose weight. And so that was a really fun book to write, and that's also on Amazon. But you can find all that through my website. So that's the easiest way to go.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen again so I can share your social handles.
Yeah. And you'll see on my social handles, there's a bunch of different kinds. So one's for reviews of cool stuff, because that's my reviews social. And I have another one for after the run, because that's like my weight loss and my podcast on health. And then, of course, my LinkedIn. But go to my website, Tyler Christensen, and that will link to all my social handles. Because now I have a ton, because I do a bunch of different side hustles.
Well, that's awesome. We want to thank you so much for coming on today and telling us how to create these side hustles. And how you can contact me is through email or by phone. My number is 910-317-0396. And you can email me, contact@mjfinancial.biz. You can visit my website, www.mjfinancial.biz, to schedule any consultations or an appointment. And you can listen to this episode on Anchor, you guys. You can find this episode on Anchor. So thank you guys so much for listening in. Thank you, Mr. Tyler, for coming on the show today and teaching us how to create side hustles. It was very, very awesome. I'm definitely going to have to check out some of these affiliate programs myself because I am trying to create side hustles for myself. So thank you again for coming on, and I very appreciate you.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's been great chatting with you today.
Awesome. All right, you guys. So we will see you on the next episode.